Well, this is insane. Trump in mere weeks completely contradicted himself on a pretty important subject. I'm going to show you some time ago, but not that long ago. This is from February 13th. Trump saying, hey, what if we cut the military budgets of our country and China's budget and Russia's in half?
One of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, and I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it.
Okay. One of the first things he wants to do is call Xi Jinping and Putin and say, let's cut in half. What the hell? Let's just do it. What the hell? Who cares? Come on. Right? Now, there are people in the world that I won't name, Cenk Uygur, who got excited and said the left wants Pentagon cuts and Trump, maybe he does too. And there were some people who said we can work with Elon and we can work with Don Jr. and Trump on cutting the Pentagon budget. And now Trump is saying this. Click the subscribe button, please, is what I'm saying. Not Trump. Trump's saying this.
Rebuilt the military during my first term, and we have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget which is in the facility, you'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you got a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget, and I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were under DOGE, but under a lot of other. When you look at a woman getting $2 billion for environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out. But we are getting a very, very powerful military. We have things under order now, the likes of which we've never had before.
So now he's saying, he went from saying we're going to cut our military budget in half. Think about how insane this is. We're going to cut it in half to we're going to increase it to an unprecedented level. What? Which one is it? Donald Trump's effort to make sweeping cuts to federal spending apparently does not include the Department of Defense, as he's now touting a plan to approve a $1 trillion military budget. Now, all of you know, and I'm just open about this, I am more than most people on the left probably pro significant spending in our military. I do believe it needs to be strong and well-funded and all that. Doesn't mean there's not things that could be found that would be wasteful. You won't cut those, but I'm not just for the sake of it. This percentage we need to slash out. But increasing it to $1 trillion would be a really, really significant increase, and obviously a heck of a lot of money within the environment of them saying we don't have any money. And that's why your benefits have to be cut, and your benefits have to be cut, and yours, because we don't have any money. Sorry, we're taking it away from you. That's their message. And now they have money for this? And he doesn't know what he wants. He's going to cut it, and now he's going to increase it. And to anyone on the left who thought if it is a goal of yours to see big cuts in the Pentagon, if you thought that was where Trump was actually going to be potentially, aligned with you, it's not happening. Or he'll flip around. We don't know. This is my point. People will analyze his policy. Oh, what does he really think about this or that? And what's the strategy? There's no strategy. He's just floating around, running into walls, throwing spaghetti at the wall, and choosing things on a whim constantly. Like in a presser going, we're going to get our two biggest adversaries to cut. Why would China and Russia, why would they, who have both been increasing the military spending, why would they cut their spending in half? It's sort of scary that a U.S. president would think that's even a thing. That's not going to happen. Never. At all. At least not in your lifetime, dumpy. When they're working harder than ever to undermine us on the world stage, they're just going to cut their military budget in half, and you're suggesting that we would do that? Then weeks later going, actually, we're going to increase it to $1 trillion? Now, a big fear, and this clip is chilling, a big fear of people is Trump is doing so many things, his trade war and his domestic policy and his tax cuts that would be tax cuts for the rich and the cutting and spending and all of it, that's going to inevitably lead to Democrats sweeping the midterms. Seems like a reasonable political assessment. Trump doing this many damaging things would prompt people to vote against Republicans in the midterms. Some people are asking the question, though, that the host of this asks, James Carville.
I'm going to combine two. Gina in Casper, Wyoming asks, is Trump looking to spark enough protests to justify declaring martial law in 2026, thus suspending the election? And Danielle in Montreal, Canada asks, with everything going on lately, what makes you think there will be midterm elections for sure? If there are, won't they be rigged? These are serious questions. Serious people are asking, James.
If they are, I take them serious. They deserve a serious answer. And a serious answer is not necessarily an encouraging answer. I've said it before, say it again. Trump does not like the United States. He doesn't like our laws. He doesn't like our Constitution. He doesn't like our people. He calls them fat. He calls them poorly educated, slobs, stupid. And he is in the midst of what I believe, I've said, and continue to believe even strongly every day, we're in the midst of a collapse. And if you look at the markets, if you look at all across the board, the political collapse was finally, look what happened in Wisconsin, look what's going on with all of the Musk and the craziness. And what I think, if he sees himself going down, he's going to try to take the whole country with him.
Absolutely.
He does not understand. He is not loyal to the United States of America. He does not like this country. He criticizes it all the time. He has affection for dictators. He has affection for authoritarianism. And you're so correct to be concerned about this, and it's getting worse by the day, and it's not going to stop getting worse.
Yeah, you can't really put with what Trump did in the post 2020 election era of trying to throw our democratic process out for himself. You can't put anything past Trump. Now, I honestly have a different fear. Because watching Trump, he really doesn't seem to care about other Republicans' races. So the midterms wouldn't be his election. It's going to impact his ability to govern if Democrats do win. Excuse me. Still ill. But I think in the case where Democrats sweep, and I'm sure there's going to be voter suppression efforts and all those things, but let's say they still do. Trump then won't have Congress to legitimize his governance. And that scares me because we've already seen him violating court orders and doing things that he should get congressional approval for. Imagine he really can't rely on Congress to help him with anything. Then he's really going to go dictatorial. That's my fear. A little bit different than the question, but that's a big, big fear of mine. Share your thoughts in the comments.